This is Judge Joe Brown, and you're watching We All Be News TV, the
News-free Dixie.
News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
You got. I ain't going.
Okay.
But let's just remember, when you die, you got to go to heaven. You got to answer to God. All of us can go to heaven and be proud because we stand on what we believe in, and when we get before the Lord, we know what we did was right. But when you do what they do, they can't. That's why they hide their faces.
So you don't endorse the Klan or
not at all. None
or neo-Nazis representing
Antifa, any of those hate groups. The thing is, if you're an organization, and if a black man, a white man, a Hispanic man, whatever color you are, if they cannot join your organization, you're in the wrong organization, point blank. Our organization, if you have a leniency to the Confederacy, that's a grandfather, a brother, you know, it ain't gonna be a brother, but let's say your grandfather's brother. Anyone that fought for the Confederacy can join our organization. We have black members. We have Native American members, but my grandmother said never say Native American, they were Cherokee. And we're also, if you look in the North and the South, one of the things that I will say with the North, why was all of them, they're supposed to be the good guys, but why is it that the blacks were all took with one picture and the whites were taken with a picture, but in the South, you see this right here, the blacks and whites, unity. You see what I'm saying? Because we, you know, when we had camps, our camps were set up together. And one of the things society doesn't want us to tell you is in Louisiana, over 3,000 free black Americans fought for the South. If each one of them had one wife, okay, that makes, you know, bumps it up to 6,000. Each one of them having 2 children, that bumps it up to 12. To today's society, there's close to 80,000 people connected to Louisiana. That's just Louisiana alone. But yet everyone wants to say it's a hate thing, but you see how that goes. They don't want to study the true history. If you study history off the internet, you're going to go south with it. It's not going to go good. It's going to be bad. Study your history from books that were written in the 1860s when there was no politically correct. It was actually written as is. You see what I mean? Those are the ones that they didn't care if they hurt your feelings, they're going to write it like it is. Read those books. Read those stories. And like I said, and when people start destroying our history and start burning those books, all your true evidence goes down with that. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I mean, what do you think about Albert Pike? Was Albert Pike friends with Nathan Bedford ForREst?
Albert Pike was a Confederate general. Yes, he was. But Albert Pike was also my kids call him Santa Claus. He looked like Santa Claus. I mean, let's just keep it real. But he was a great general. That's my personal opinion. He was a great man.
Now, people will say he lived here back in the 1860s. He worked for a paper called the Memphis Daily Appeal.
If you study his books, and Albert Pike was not one of them I really studied up on, so I can't go into a whole lot of history. All I can tell you is, yes, he did. He was in the Confederacy. He was a general, and Nathan B. ForREst was, a general, and that's the only thing I can really tell you about.
Well, now they say he was the chief judicial officer of the Klan, Albert Pike.
That I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I don't know, but I will say this though: our organization, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, we do not like the Klan. We do not have anything to do with them. The thing is, let me see this Gatorade right here. Everyone loves it, everyone likes it. But if I stand up there on that stadium and I start hollering racial slants, they'll make this bottle here a racist thing. You see what I'm saying?
All right.
The flag itself is not a racist emblem. It was not considered as a battle flag. That's one we charged into battle with. That was our motivation to run into battle. The Klan has taken that deal and has ran off with it, and I like to say stole our flag. I don't like them. I don't. The Sons of Confederate Veterans. When you see an all-white race or an all-white power or whatever, that's them. We don't have nothing to do with them. We don't want nothing to do with them.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
By the way, my name's Ronnie, too.
All right, okay, cool. Appreciate it.
We're here live at the Nathan Bedford ForREst Day, July 9th, 2017 in Memphis, Tennessee, known as the City of Good Abode. With supporters, curious bystanders, maybe some con people out here. But I do definitely believe in freedom of expression, and I would like for anybody who want to talk about this, feel free to do so. I got my interpretation. I call it Black Family Genocide, the 4 Pillar Massacre of 1864. Now it still is in dispute about whether Nathan Bedford ForREst is a war criminal or not. but everybody do agree for the most part that he was a military genius. But with his morals and ethics involved, it's a different story. So I'd like to get other people's opinions about this. Anybody want to share anything by any chance?
It's no right or wrong, it's your opinion. We're not going to get mad at what you say, we're not get mad at what you say. That's what history's about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So anybody have any opinions they want to share?
If you don't like the picture, you just say, I don't like the picture.
My
You don't
opinion is
say-
I like the picture. I like it. I grew up as an artist, and it's a good picture. I like the way the median you did, and it's just amazing you did that with Think Pen.
Yes, sir.
I would like to say something. No matter which way you stand on, which your side of it, okay? You got to remember, you cannot make the 1865 morals of society being the same equivalent to today's standards. Does that make sense?
I hear you.
Today's standards are going to do different morals than what we had back then. But one thing that we can always say, that Nathan Bedford ForREst and everyone else that wears this flag or hates this flag, you got to remember, you always got to believe in God first. You got to trust the good Lord, and if you trust the good Lord, you're going to go right either way you go. I hope everybody agrees with that.
Anybody else?
There was a fellow here, Union General.
Okay, we're going to move that out.
Yes, Nathan Bedford ForREst did it for you.
General for the North.
Yeah, generals for the North did a lot of bad things. When the war was over, you got to remember
They still had slaves.
They still had slaves, and you got to
Forrest
remember
and
our
Lee had
president
released theirs
Jefferson
early.
Davis. Compare him to Grant and these other guys.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln. If Abraham Lincoln was such a saint, why did he have slaves? Think about that.
He was married to a Southern, right? His
And
wife.
and one thing I will say this. There's a lot of generals from the North that did a lot of bad things to the Southern people. Not just the white Southern people, the slave owners, slaves in general. General Sherman, I don't know how else to say it, and I don't know how to milk it. General Sherman come down here with his army. Not only did he, what do they call it, privilege when they destroy a whole community.
Right.
Okay.
Pillage.
Pillage.
Yeah.
All right. And he was one of the first ones to let his men do what he wanted to with all the women here, black or white.
Okay.
And that's the thing, but people don't ever say negative things about the North because they're always the good guys.
The white Southern man did not invent slavery.
No, it was the North. And one of the things I'm going on record here, the South never brought one slave to the South.
No
They
Confederate
came
flag
through
ever.
the North. New York City, believe it or not, has the largest slave graveyard in the world.
Yeah.
Now the reason they have that, now here's what's really sad, and if you want to go on record, you can say it. But you say there's a 3-month ride over here for 300 passengers, right? Unfortunately, 10 of them didn't make it due to yellow fever or some other diseases, right? What do you think they did with these people? They didn't sit there and just lay them in a nice grave. No, what they did is they made you look at your mother. Now this is the North, not the South.
Okay.
You look at your mother there. Have you ever hit something, an animal, and a day or two later, rigor mortis kicks in? Okay, that's what happens to these bodies on this boat. Rigor mortis kicks in. This is your mother, this is your grandmother, your brother, your sister, whoever. You got to look at them for 2 or 3 months on the joyride. When they hit New York City, the first thing they do is they got the census. The census comes up and says you have 300, unfortunately 10 didn't make it, you got 290. Guess what they did with the 10%? They're the 10 bodies. They chunked them in pits, huge pits. They didn't single individual graves, they was huge pits. Now to me, if somebody wants to do something instead of destroying a monument, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, why don't we find where these pits are up in New York and make a city park out of it?
They helped. I've been there last year.
See, that's
it's right
what I'm
by. They were
looking
trying to break ground on Federal Building back in the 80s, and they found over tens of thousands of enslaved Africans buried there. They tried to cover it up, but the community found out about it.
Exactly.
So they got mounds and stuff down there.
So they are doing something.
It's already down there. It's a memorial. It's a slave in the middle of Manhattan.
I knew
I've been down there.
Buildings. How hard is it to put a city park in there and put some grass and let kids have a little?
But you know, Central Park was the settlement for black people. It was called the Village, and they kicked the black folks out of Central Park up in New York, the largest park in the country. And it's called Central Park today, but it was known as the African Village back in the day. Just like Georgetown was a black neighborhood. Yeah. And also, okay, we talk about the North. What about the Devil Punch Bowl down in Natchez, Mississippi?
Well, there's
that was the North. That was the Union that did that.
And,
but you got Camp Douglas. They always talk about Andersonville, I believe. You know, you got Camp Douglas up in Chicago. Was it Camp Douglas?
Yeah, that
in
was
Chicago. Yeah, but war is hell, though. I mean, you know, you suspend, like Colin Powell said, you suspend civilization during war.
Well, I respect Jefferson Davis. I respect Robert E. Lee. But Susan, It's my wife. She said we're hungry, so we got to go get something.
I like how she gets shit in you out the way. That's all right. I appreciate it.
Since we talk, you care if I get a picture of you?
No, it's on it. Okay, it's fine.
Since you recorded me and I don't know.
Company, ready! Hey!